Mother, tell your children not to walk my way. Tell your children not to hear my words, what they mean, what they say.
Hello, and yeah, this is a response to, well, kind of a response to PSPower's newest vid, in which he goes on this little tirade about wrestling analysts, and I guess smart fans in general, I'm guessing. And let's just kind of dissect what he's talking about here. He's talking about the fact that he feels like I'm not sure what he's talking about, to be exactly honest, because I think he's totally missing the point on some of this stuff. He's talking about the fact that apparently he thinks when you review something, like myself and many others do, and you dissect it, that you're missing the point about pro wrestling because you're not taking it as a whole. And I would sit here and say that I've never seen anyone do that. If you're simply dissecting, if you're watching a pay-per-view and you're only dissecting it match by match, and you're just honing in on that one match, and you're just saying, okay, here's this match, here's this match, here's this match, and you're not taking the pay-per-view as a whole, then you're not doing that pay-per-view justice. You're truly not. It's why I didn't do a Victory Road review, and it's why I didn't do a Great American Bash review, because I did not watch those as a whole on a pay-per-view, and I felt like I could not objectively say that. I felt objectively could not do that. Felt I could not give a true review of it. And I think if anyone doesn't do that, then I think that you're not doing an adequate review. I think you do have to take it as a whole, because I'll give you an example. If you only watched the matches from Respect is Earned, for example, then you missed the Adam Pearce promo, which I thought was maybe the second best part of that entire pay-per-view. And so, because it was very good, very kind of marked out in a lot of ways, in my opinion. I kind of marked out for it a little bit, and I enjoyed it. He also brought up the fact that he felt like a lot of these people weren't fans anymore. And if you're reviewing something and you're not a fan of what's going on, at least in some extent, then you shouldn't be reviewing it, in my opinion, because you're not going to be objective. It's going to sound much more, archaic, and it's just going to be and it shouldn't be that way. So if you can't mark out for something, then by all means you should not be doing reviews. And I myself still mark out over stuff. I had 2 markouts at ROH's Final Battle 2006. The first was actually, the biggie probably would have been, well, not the biggie, but when I bought the DVD, the one that I marked out for was, of course, seeing Homicide finally win the ROH Championship. As a big deal, I marked out for that, as did all the fans there, and all the fans there would be considered smart fans, in my opinion. So I do think that smart fans still mark out for stuff, still are fans for things, and still have that innocence about the wrestling business to a degree. They're still smart. They still know what's going on. I mean, the veil, they've, like in the Wizard of Oz, they've seen the man behind the curtain. They've seen who the real Wizard of Oz is, but they're willing to ignore it as long as what they're seeing is good, and as long as they can ignore it. I'll get to that in a minute, but there was that, and I marked out for that. Now, when that event took place, and I was reading the spoilers, I already knew that Homicide won, and I still marked out. The thing I marked out for the most was not Homicide winning, because I knew Homicide was going to win, but was the promo that Joe did for that event. And for those of you that have never seen it, basically Joe couldn't wrestle. He went out, did a promo in which he called out Pro Wrestling Noah. And he called out all these guys, said send him Kabashi, send him Morifuji, send him Kenta, send him Morishima. And then he stopped, and he kind of got this grin, and he looked into the camera and said, I'll tell you what, old man, send me Matsuhiro Misawa. Now, to a lot of people, that doesn't mean nothing. To me, to Moro Virus, that was huge. That was a massive deal, because we thought we were going to get to see Joe versus Misawa, which is like a freaking dream match beyond dream matches for a lot of us. And so people marked out for that. People marked out when, during the ROH CZW feud. People marked out when, in ROH, when I saw Glory by Honor night, Glory by Honor 4 night 2, and during the Bruno Sammartino promo. I marked out during that. I still mark out, and if you can't find something to mark out with in this business, then you shouldn't be reviewing it. I completely agree with him there. You have to be a fan. You have to still be able to remember that innocence. I can remember. I can remember when my biggest markout moment. My biggest markout moment would have been a markout moment that even the smartest of smartest fans still talk about is still one of the biggest markout moments of all time, and that's when Bobby Heenan said he had an announcement on Superstars, and all of a sudden he pans and there's this little promo thing, and there's Ric Flair, and he's got the title, and they're calling him the Real World Champion, and my mouth dropped. I was maybe was that 92? So I was about 16 or so, I guess, or maybe 14, I guess. Then I was 16, I guess. I marked out for that because that was a big freaking deal. So I mean, if you can't mark out for something, then by all means don't be doing any of this. And I do agree with him in that you have to take everything as a whole. Now I'll sit here and tell you, there has been few times I have ever marked out for anything in TNA, with the exception of there was a few times during the Sports Entertainment Extreme angle, which I marked out a little bit. That's it. I haven't marked out for anything in WWE, with the exception of the One Night Stand pay-per-views. The first one I marked out so huge, it wasn't funny. When they did the ECW part of the Invasion angle, I marked out for that. And also, I marked out numerous times during the original ECW. Here's the thing, is people think that smart fans don't mark out. We do mark out. We're the easiest ones to mark out. Why? Because we think we know everything, and we don't know everything. We're easy to fool. Paul Heyman proved this on numerous occasions, and that's my problem with both TNA and WWE. Not the fact that they are just aiming for the casual fans, because it's not just that they aim for the casual fans. They don't even try to go over the casual fans' head. If they go over the casual fans' head, the casual fans can reach up a little bit and grab it, and it's on enough of our level to where it's going to work, and to where we'll go, hey, we can buy into this. And then every once in a while, if they shoot over our heads, maybe it goes over the casual fans' head a little bit, but if they do it in the mid card, but if they go over our heads, it's going to be, we will kind of mark out. And I have always had this belief that if you can make wrestling fans smarter, it's going to make the business better, because it's going to allow the wrestling world, the wrestling promotions, to do their storylines and do a lot of the storylines a little bit above everybody's head, and get into that level where things are good, and even when they're basic, where fans will start relying what good matches are, and that matches should be the center point of the feuds, because what good does it do if you have this great feud and the match sucks? I mean, really, what good is it? I mean, there's points where you can point to that and say, hey, that this was a great feud, but the match wasn't very good, and that's fine. But if that's going to be the case, then you only do like a 5-minute match. But you do the feud to make the match that much better, and I would say that's one of the problems with both TNA and WWE and many other promotions as well, that they don't realize that they don't use the feud to make the match better. And I myself still consider myself a fan. I hope a lot of other people still consider themselves fans, and I hope that they are objective. And I do agree with his point about that you do have to accept a pay-per-view as a whole, and you can't just grade it by, well, these were the matches, because you do have to look at everything, and was it fun, and was it entertaining, and was a match entertaining? And I find it odd that he says this, and yet I believe he doubts WrestleMania, because WrestleMania is always what WrestleMania is, and I've always felt that I thought the Lashley Umaga match, even though it was a big worked and was entertaining at least to watch, and that's what it was meant to do. So I was willing to give them a pass on that match, even though it took up a bunch of time, but it was entertaining to watch. So I just wanted to come out here and say that a little bit. I'll probably be doing a question and answer tonight too. So there we go. Have a good one. Bye.